Hey everyone, welcome. It's Kelsey here. This is an episode of Connected Conversations. We are going to be talking about the question, are you devoted to your vision? So, this is a series that we do every Tuesday, and we talk about various topics around spiritual business, feminine leadership, and personal transformation. And I wanted to talk about this topic as it came through when I pulled tarot cards for every week this month. And I want to acknowledge that I missed last week's live because I was out of town. And it's interesting how the alignment of the kind of intuitive conversations that I've pulled to talk about have manifested in my life and in the lives of my clients. So I'm going to be touching on that a little bit throughout this video. So the energy that we're talking about today was from the Queen of Wands, and that's where this question really came about. Are you devoted to your vision? And I wanted to start by pointing out a little bit of a theme that has been coming up. It's really an aside from this question, but I think it's important to mention, and that is looking at the way that different words impact us, the way that different words with similar meanings have resonance for us, and really discerning what words you want to be using in your deeper questioning, your deeper inner questioning. Maybe you're making affirmations for yourself. I do a lot of mindset work with my clients and with myself, and I think reframing what we're saying to ourselves and using the right words, the words that have deeper resonance with us, is really important. So I chose the word devotion for this question because I feel, one, it's the energy that I get with the Queen of Wands, and it's also, to me, it's a very feminine way of relating to your goals and commitments. And I think when we talk about vision, we get to get really clear about what we're talking about, both on a personal level and on a just kind of objective level. So I want you to ask yourself, and maybe this is something that you've looked at before, maybe this is brand new to you, but just I invite you to just be open to this conversation and to what it might have to offer you today. And the question is, do you experience wavering in your commitment to your goals? Are you uncertain about what direction you're going? Where do you feel like, should I do this? Should I do that? Are you constantly questioning? Or do you lack focus in your life or in your business? A lot of my clients, my audience, are either aspiring business owners or very new business owners. And so this question might apply to your life, or kind of what you're looking at doing in general, or it could be in your business specifically. And just recognize if there's a gap there for you. And recognize what your conversation is around it. Right? Because I never want there to be an energy of self beat up when we're recognizing patterns in ourselves, because that's not actually helpful or productive to change. But we just get to recognize if there's a wavering in your commitment. And if there is, it's important to realize that there's usually one of two things going on. You're either lacking clarity in your vision. So you might have some foggy ideas of where you want to go in your life, but it's not clear. If it's not clear enough, then it's not going to be enough to motivate you and to drive you forward. And it can also be that there's some unconscious fear or block that is in the way that's keeping you from fully embracing the vision that you have. So, if you have done vision work in the past, if you've kind of created maybe a vision board. I don't personally use vision boards, but I know some people do. Or if you've done journaling around, what do you want your life to look like 1, 3, 5, 10 years from now, whatever it is. Um, and if you have that clear vision, but it's still not enough to keep you devoted and committed to your goals and your daily action steps and your daily shifts, the ways that you get to shift how you show up to life, then we get to look at if there's a block. And sometimes the block can be something we don't expect. So this came up actually with a client of mine last week. And it was a situation where the vision of where they wanted to be was really, really clear. She could see in her mind's eye, the vision of where she wanted to be in her life and in her business. And it felt very real. So the problem wasn't clarity of vision, right? We were able to determine that really quickly. But what we found through our conversation was that there was something in the gap between where she is now and where she wants to go that is, stopping her from believing that it's fully possible. I guess it's not so much as a lack of belief in the vision, but there's something else in the way. And so if this is resonating with you, I want to give some examples of some things that can get in the way, just for you to kind of reflect on and think about, and see if these resonate. So I know for me, I've gone through kind of two polar opposites of the spectrum around fear of actually realizing my vision. So the first one that's pretty common is a fear of failure. So it's, I have a vision to create something or to do something, but I'm afraid that I'm not going to be any good at it, that I'm going to fall on my face, that I'm going to fail, and that's keeping me from taking the steps that I need to take to do it. And the other piece, which is a little bit trickier to see sometimes, is actually a fear of success. So once you start to break through hurdles and accomplish things in your life, in your business, the bigger goals that you have set out, and um, you still have your vision and it's clear, and then there's something else stopping you, and it's not a fear of failure. You're okay with the reality that you're going to fail in your business. There's going to be things that flop. That's definitely something I want to impart right now to anybody watching, is just that is a natural part of being an entrepreneur, is failing a lot, and that's a great thing to get really good at and really accepting of. But actually, if the vision is clear, but you don't feel 100% aligned to it, like it doesn't feel like it could be real for you, there could be a fear of success happening, which is, what will happen when I have all of this to hold? Will I fall apart? And as you can see, it's very much the mirror for that fear of failure. And what these are these are limiting beliefs that we adopted, through our conditioning, through trauma, through our experiences, and they are stories that are playing in our subconscious mind that are sabotaging us. And so when we get really devoted to our vision, 100%, we've done the visioning work. And if this is something you would like to hear more about, how to create a vision, how to really get clarity in your vision, type vision in the chat so that I know, and I can create more around that. But if you are clear on your vision and you want to have your motivation be driven by your vision, then you get to recognize when things pop up that are getting in the way. So I have written over here on my whiteboard that I look at whenever I'm working, and it says commitment follows vision, which means that you will be committed to your goals. You will be committed to taking the action steps necessary if you are vision driven. If you are keeping your vision for your life, for your future, for your business in the forefront and not letting it get sent to the back burner. I know so many people that come to me, have put themselves on the back burner for years in their lives. And that can be a really good way to practice putting your vision on the back burner. So even when you start to really take time for yourself and for what you want to do, it can be this pattern and this tendency to put your vision on the back burner, put your dreams on the back burner. That can be another block that gets in the way, and that's something to recognize. And what I would advise is getting support around these things. It's been invaluable to me, the coaching that I've invested in, the mentorship that I've invested in, to help for other people, for professionals to see the same blocks that they themselves have been through. So as a coach, I can see these things in my clients because I have been through them before, and I recognize when they come up because I see myself in my clients. So it's having that mentorship or that guidance can be really, really helpful to break through these. It's definitely possible to do it on your own. It just might take a lot longer. So a lot of times we invest in coaching, to save us time, which I think is a really great idea. And when we identify the blocks, the self-sabotage, the limiting beliefs, we also get to get really clear about what we're invested in. Again, like that word, what are you devoted to? Because it can be a big pull. And so we need to look at those things. Say, for my example, it's fear of success. Really look at it. Okay, what does this mean for me? Like, why is this fear of success here? Why am I afraid of success? Well, maybe it has to do with the trauma that I've experienced around, having like a chaotic home life, things feeling like they were too much for me to handle, and me being scared of things feeling like they're too much to handle, and me having a belief that when I'm successful, when I experience myself as successful in the big vision that I have, that's going to feel like too much. And so right there's two different pieces we could look at. We could look at changing the story that success will be too much, and also that I can't handle more, right? So it's just this work of we go under, and this is the mindset work. This is how I support people in restructuring your mindset so that you can be devoted to your vision, so that these things are not going to get in your way. Okay, so I hope that this is clear. I hope that this serves you. We talked about how your vision will create the energy to pull you forward through resistance and challenges, through limiting beliefs and self-sabotaging patterns. It'll actually be the prompt that's going to help you heal some of those things when you have the right awareness and support to really see what is holding you back. I also read the message for this particular deck's Queen of Wands, which is, it's this deck, it's the Star Spinner Tarot. And one of the quotes one quote I pulled that I thought was really interesting was that the Queen of Wands represents your willingness to change your views as needed for the sake of righteousness. Now, I don't love the word righteousness because I think it has kind of a shadowy context typically, but what I feel like this means is it's giving you permission. So the Queen of Wands and this message for you this week is giving you permission to be able to change your opinions, your perspective, and your views on things. And how does that free up your ability to be visible, take action, be bold? You know, when you're not feeling like you have to be tied to any one way of thinking or doing things, that can actually open up your ability to, you know, break through again whatever limitations are you know, keeping you from being committed to your goals. I know I used to be afraid to share some of my thoughts and views publicly because I was really aware of how quickly they might change. You know, sometimes we have a strong opinion about something, and you know, if you're aware of, you know, your inner processes, you can see that sometimes you'll learn new information and your views will change. So I think this is a really powerful way to give permission to us to change, to be allowed to change, to shift, and to be mutable and to be flexible. And I hope that that piece helps with any resistance to getting out there, being visible, being seen, being bold, sharing your voice. These are really important pieces, especially right now. The last post that I published was for the full moon in Aquarius. We're fully in Leo season right now. We're on this axis of Leo and Aquarius, and that post and this season is all about self-expression and the importance of expressing ourselves in a way that's really aligned with who we are at the core versus kind of the personality or the masks that we wear. So you know, this is a great time to practice putting your thoughts out there, putting yourself out there, putting your creativity out there, especially if you're looking to build any sort of a spiritual business. You know, it's really important to get used to being visible. So that's the invitation. What can you do this week to be more visible? What can you do this week to share your voice, to share your views, and to not be afraid that they might not be exactly the same tomorrow? How can you trust that what you have to offer is enough for whoever needs to hear it? Right? And with this, you know, there's an invitation I have, which is, what if we, I guess it's a question and an invitation. What if we regarded each other as constantly evolving instead of fixed? What would this open up for you and the people in your life? So what this means is, you know, if a block for you is in showing up and being visible, and you're having trouble with your, you know, you're devoted to your vision, you see your vision clearly, and you're, you know, you have an idea of what steps you need or want to take to reach that vision, right? But you're being stopped through these old conditioning, old limiting beliefs. And one of those might be, I'm afraid to share because I might change my mind. What if we regarded each other as constantly evolving instead of fixed? This is a very, like, this comes from social psychology, and I don't have the exact pieces of information and references, but I'm remembering this from my studies of social psychology, which is that we tend to view each other as fixed, as unchanging. This is just kind of a subconscious way that we as humans interact with each other. You know, we want to kind of be able to assess and understand and compartmentalize things and people. So here's another piece where, like, how can we bring our awareness to that tendency and choose to see other people as constantly evolving? I know that that's how I'd like people to see me. I would love it if people could, you know, hear what I have to say and not be married to it, that it has to stay the same forever, right? That I'm constantly evolving and that the things that I share might change. So this might just be for one or two of you. I know that this is kind of a very specific message, but when I get, you know, when I download, you know, when I, you know, kind of do this intuitive style of sharing, I do want to touch on all the points that come through because it could, I think it's there for somebody. So I want you to think about regarding other people in your life as evolving and see what that opens up for you and see if that helps open up your energy to be more committed, be more invested in what you're creating. So I think that is it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to Connected Conversations. It has been a pleasure to speak into this with you. And if you have any thoughts, I'd love for you to leave those in the comments. Let me know how this resonated. Let me know if there's any pieces that were specifically potent for you, or if you have any questions about anything. Be happy to come back and answer those later on. So that's it for now. I'll see you all very, very soon. Thank you so much and have an awesome Tuesday.